digital marketing isn't a create it and forget it type activity. It's something that once you have it going, you need to be messing with it. You need to be tweaking it and playing with it and doing new stuff and continually testing and revising and making stuff better. Otherwise, it's going to stagnate out and you're going to end up not getting any results at all. And that's really a challenge for a lot of small businesses when they have, it's the owner and maybe a couple employees doing stuff, maybe an office manager, but no one really dedicated to that marketing piece.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to the next episode of the Slow Smoke Business Podcast. I'm your host, Jarrod Morgan, and I'm here with my friend Kevin Snow. Kevin is the CEO of Time on Target. He is the co-host of the Growth Mode podcast, another great podcast you can check out there. Welcome, Kevin.
Thanks for having me. I'm really excited to be on the show.
So we're going to talk about a bunch of stuff today. I got a bunch of things I want to ask you about, but the first things first, right? And spoiler alert, this is not whiskey. This is actually iced tea because it is a balmy, humid, hot Alabama afternoon that I'm recording this podcast. Sorry to disappoint. Let's get into what we're cooking, though. So for Kevin, even though he's not going to be able to eat it, for Kevin today, we're making, this is a first for here. So I think I've done wings one time before, but we're doing wings today, grilled wings. But for the first time ever, we're going with lemon pepper. Right, so I get yelled at too with this spray. We're going to go lemon pepper wings and talk growing your business with Kevin Snow. Kevin, how often do you get out and grill in your backyard?
Not as much as I would like. I maybe grill once a week right now. So
okay, what's your go-to grill meal?
I'm really super basic that way. I really like a grilled hamburger.
Nice. Okay.
So, and I'll grill the other stuff. I'll do pork chops and steak and, and veggies and all that stuff. But I really like grilled hamburgers, which is funny because when I was growing up, I wouldn't eat them.
Isn't that weird how your taste buds
change?
change?
My mom would have to, fry a hamburger for me while Dad was grilling hamburgers for the rest of the family. It was just really odd.
When you say fry a hamburger, was she throwing it in a vat of oil, or was it just griddled in a pan?
No, just in your cast iron pan,
Oh yeah, okay. When you grill a hamburger, are you a cheese guy? Are you trying to put onions on top? What's the move?
I'm always a cheese always a cheese person in general. Okay. Sometimes I'll actually do. I don't know if you've heard of it in Alabama. In Minnesota, we have what's called the Juicy Lucy.
Oh, yeah, baby. Juicy Lucy. Come on.
We are the home of the Juicy Lucy. So every once in a while.
Two different places to get the Juicy Lucy, right? What are you, which team are you?
I am a Mats.
Okay. Is that the one that yells at you to shut the door when you come inside?
Yes. And
they don't serve you ice with the water, and it's basically you're here for the burger and that's it, right?
It's a kind of a little dive bar, but it's a really good personality. But I like their Juicy Lucy's are better. They're
explain what a Juicy Lucy is. For everybody.
Juicy Lucy is basically you take a patty of beef and you put some cheese, a couple cubes of good melty cheese in the middle, and then you put another patty of burger on top and squeeze it all together so it makes one big patty with cheese in the middle. And then you grill it and you have molten fire when you bite into it and molten cheese going everywhere. But yeah, they do everything from cheddar to pepper jack to all kinds of really weird cheeses now you can get in your Juicy Lucy.
That's one of my favorite, when I had to travel a lot for work, one of the best things that you do to sort of get through the madness of being on the road all the time is you try to find the food that is the iconic thing of where you are. And so you're eating Juicy Lucy's and Skyline Chili's and, In-N-Out Burger and different things. But Juicy Lucy's is fun. But the guy was super mean at Matt's. He was kind of a jackass. I remember we're coming in and we're like, we're tourists, and the door's not closing behind me. And I'm assuming maybe it's probably not Matt, but whoever it was, shut the door. And we shut the door. And then there was we wanted a water or whatever, and there was like no, I just dumped water in from like a hose outside and whatever. If it wasn't for this legendary burger, this would be a 1-star experience. But the burger just makes
Yeah.
up the rest of the delta to the 5-star.
Yeah, when I travel, I like to find the local food hangouts. So, like, if I'm at a bar or something, I'll always ask the server where they eat, where they like to have food at.
Oh, nice.
Because it's always better. Because hotels, it's always going to be like, oh, you got to go to this restaurant. It's always going to be the touristy one that they've got some sort of relationship with. So, you ask the servers, like, yeah, we go to this place. They have the best wings, or this place has the best whatever. And that's how I do it. Or I am a Divers, Diners, and Drives.
Oh yeah, baby. Triple
Yep.
D and Man versus Food.
Oh, God.
So they used to have this app, and it went away. I don't know who made this app, but this was this map called TV Food Maps, and you could download this thing on your phone, and it would tell you. You go in there, and it would tell you what restaurants near you had been on what television show. And it was just the easiest way to find. I guess they never found a business model, which is why the thing
Yep.
went under. But there's a million places to find that now, and that's like those are undefeated. If you go to a Triple D or a Man versus Food website, you are guaranteed to have a good
Yeah,
time.
there was a Man versus Food episode where it was a sushi restaurant in Charleston, I think. And they basically had
okay.
a spicy tuna challenge where it went from kind of spicy to blow your head off spicy. And
Whoa.
if you went through and you got through it all, and I think you'd do it in 2 turns and 2 visits, but you got the cool little samurai headband that you could wear when you came in, and they'd all greet you then if you were wearing it as the person who finished the challenge and stuff. And I'm like, ooh, a sushi challenge! I could do that. I want to try that.
And you did?
Nope, I haven't been. I have
Oh.
yet to be to Charleston, but.
Charleston's a great town. We actually went there a couple months ago with my wife, and it was phenomenal. Like it's old school, kind of like old America. Lots of like history going back to Revolutionary times. Like it's wild.
Yeah, I've done Savannah. Thought that was amazing. Want to definitely go back there. Haven't done a lot of stuff in the South, so.
Well, listen, we didn't get to be the most obese section of the country eating bad food. So get down here. We don't have Juicy Lucy's, but we got plenty of. I don't know. I was going to make something up, but we've got plenty of good stuff here. That's for sure. Now, you're the CEO and founder of Time on Target. Yep. It's a digital marketing agency. Is that the correct?
Yeah.
Way to characterize that?
Yeah, we're a little different than your normal digital marketing agency. Most of them are pushing, funnels and drip campaigns and lead nurturing and all that stuff. We actually take a different route into working with our clients. We actually start helping them automate their sales process and helping them figure out, all right, so how do you actually sell, and how do we now take the repetitive parts of that process and make it automated? Or how do we inject content into the sales process at the right time so that we're answering key questions that your prospects have when they're asking it and helping accelerate the process? And then once we get the sales process all figured out, that's then where we're going to look at, all right, so now how do we feed the beast? How do we get more prospects coming in? How do we do lead nurturing? But having been a salesperson, I want to make sure the sales cycle works right before we're throwing leads at it and just wasting leads. So,
well, I mean, and stuff is crazy, and digital marketing has been, the way that people have built a lot of great businesses over the last, 10, 15 plus years or whatever it is, but it's changing rapidly now with the way that they've changed how you can target Facebook ads and just all the different platforms and everything. Has the way that you've done digital marketing had to change in the last couple of years based on all of that? Or is there still like one strategy that just needs tweaking no matter what they do?
For me, it's really, there hasn't been a single strategy because I'm so vested into a sales process and what the client is doing for selling. We really focus on helping them understand how their buyer makes that decision and what steps they're going through so we can mirror their process up. What happens a lot, especially in small businesses, when they'll get a CRM or some tool that'll have a pipeline capacity to it, they'll just use whatever the system is that's in there. They'll use the steps that are pre-populated, and then they'll try and fit their process into that box, and it screws everything up. So we always come in and we always ask tons of questions to our clients about how they sell, and it never fails that when we get to the point where we're asking them about how their buyers buy, 9 out of 10 times they don't know. They don't know what's causing them to make those decisions. So that's, where we'll end up spending a lot of the time in that consulting part, is really meeting with the clients and asking them, all right, so walk me through your experience. What happened? And how did that make you feel? And all that type of stuff. And it's almost kind of being like a therapist a little bit, getting them to share all that info. But then that really gets to drive, how that company then sells going forward. Maybe.
How does somebody, are these businesses that are part of their sales process is to interact with their customer directly ever, or are most of these businesses ones that are expecting sort of like a sale and they've never spoken to that customer?
No, 95% of my clients are all B2B, where there's some sort of face-to-face sale. And they're very much a service organization where the owner is still probably doing a ton of the sales, and he's spending a lot of time face-to-face with the clients, but he's still trying to grow and scale the business. And they're usually at that point where like, oh, we need to hire salespeople. I'm like, no, actually, let's look at this instead. And we can save you some money on overhead for employees and probably actually allow you to keep selling like this and bring in more revenue at the same time. So yeah, most of my clients all have some sort of face-to-face engagement that we're trying to integrate with the automation piece.
So are the changes that, particularly Facebook, but a lot of them have had to make changes post Cambridge Analytica scandal, like everybody's made it more difficult. It used to be you could just target down to a T and everybody got, weirded out because of privacy, and rightfully so. But, in today's world, is it still realistic to think that you can run a business strictly on, Facebook ads and targeting and create a funnel that generates enough revenue to survive, or forget surviving, thriving, right? Is that still a business model, or do you have to do other things now?
Donnie and I both teach that you have to have multiple sources of your prospects. You can't rely on just one place to feed your pipeline. You totally can generate good prospects from social media, but you got to understand where your buyers are at. For what I do and what Donnie and I do with Success Champions, Facebook isn't our thing. Most of my buyers and people I interact with aren't there. And if they are on Facebook, they're only there because they're trying to sell to someone who's on Facebook, and they're not actually using it for their stuff. So we do a ton more on LinkedIn. And that's where we focus all our posting and our activities. And now with the podcast, we're starting to do more on Instagram and TikTok because it's more of a visual thing.
TikTok is fascinating to me because it is the algorithms that they use to keep your attention there are outstanding.
Yep.
And I've never met anybody that's gotten on TikTok and been like, it sucked. I after a few days I turned, at the beginning it was just teeny boppers doing dances, to whatever the hot dance was at the moment. Now it's like I'm on there watching people grill out. I'm on there seeing pro wrestling clips from the 90s. I'm, baseball stats, whatever it is, it quickly figures out what you're into, which those types of algorithms also make really ripe environments for engaging an audience for products, right? Because then you really know what someone's into. But what is you just throw up an ad in Facebook, and that's a pretty well-established, tried and true kind of thing. But when you're working with TikTok, which is a completely different form, it's a short-form video. It's so easy to move to the next thing, right? It's one flick and you're gone. And so if they don't have you in like a split second, it doesn't work. What is the strategy to get attention using TikTok?
Oh, wow. That would be a great Donnie question because he's doing it more than me. But it's really, we don't want the We don't want the dancing teeny boppers, watching us. We're not designed for them with growth mode. So we're really targeting, for us you have to have that hook right away. That's going to get people to then listen and then engage. So Donnie a lot on TikTok will actually pick a fight. He'll throw out some concept that shouldn't be overly controversial, but it is. And he'll make a stand around it and then get people to engage. One of them he did was a swearing thing, and he got all kinds of engagement, which then drove the algorithm for more people to see his stuff. And half of them were like, yeah, if you want to drop an F-bomb, drop an F-bomb. It doesn't impact your ability to perform. Then other people's like, oh, that's the most unprofessional thing ever. You should never swear in business. I'm like,
are these people dropping that in the comments, or are they?
No, that's all in the comments.
Okay.
So, and then Donnie replies back to all of them, which then drives the algorithm more and causes people to see his video more often. So, and then the oddest thing, his brother did a Mountain Dew beer challenge because he got dared to do it, and it went freaking viral.
Mountain Dew beer?
Yeah, there's like this challenge where you like drank a beer with Mountain Dew together, and I don't remember exactly what it was. But yeah, he got millions of views. With his first TikTok ever, he goes viral. We're like, what the hell?
Oh, wow.
We're like, we hate you.
It's also not super, I don't know, youthful, right? I mean, you just built an audience of people that want to watch you chug Mountain Dew and beer. And so I don't know what you do with that audience other than just keep chugging weird things. There is a TikTok account that I follow, which I guess I'm sort of proving a point here. It's like I'm engaged with this guy. But this guy chugs old beer, and when I say old beer, like people mail him.
Oh.
They find beers from 1976 that were unopened. A Jimmy Carter beer or something, and he cracks it and. Warm, like not cold either, and you talk about gastrointestinal issues, right? I mean, but you can't look away, right? Here's this guy chugging this nasty old beer, and you're just like, what a animal this guy is.
Yeah,
right?
I follow one guy on TikTok where he literally just takes suggestions for mixed drinks. And then he mixes them and tastes them live for the first time on air. And some of them are good, and some of them are obviously not good based on his facial expressions. But yeah, that is literally all his content is him taking requests and mixing drinks and drinking. I'm like,
I guess that's kind of like the thing. You got to have a thing on social media that people know. Oh, I go to this. I'm following this account because this one does blank, right? Yeah, and we're obviously trying to figure that out for this show, right? I mean, we're the show that you come to where we talk business and grill something.
I think you'd be able to get a ton of traction on there with the grilling part, and being able and taking bits and pieces and making a grill video on how to do lemon pecker
wings is not in the cookbook, but it could be.
Lemon pepper chicken wings. Wow.
Yeah. I had a friend that we used to call Lemon Pecker back in college. But no, I'm kidding. So do you think that the average – maybe this is a little bit of a skewed thing because you talk to a lot of people that are probably already in some level of buying into digital marketing. Do you think the average business is aware that digital marketing has to be a part of your strategy? Or do you think that most businesses are still behind the curve on that?
I think 2020 was a wake-up call for most small businesses. And based on how my phone began to ring and the contacts I was getting, I'm pretty sure that's a true statement. Everyone now was all of a sudden working remotely and couldn't go out and do the things how they normally did, and they had to now figure out this new way to do stuff, whether it was selling via Zoom, using email, but they had to now have a digital footprint. So I think a lot of them caught up. But now the struggle for them is how do they maintain it now that they have in-person and real live activities again. and just keeping it going and being able to manage it is always a challenge for a small business, because digital marketing isn't a create it and forget it type activity. It's something that once you have it going, you need to be messing with it. You need to be tweaking it and playing with it and doing new stuff and continually testing and revising and making stuff better. Otherwise, it's going to stagnate out and you're going to end up not getting any results at all. And that's really a challenge for a lot of small businesses when they have, it's the owner and maybe a couple employees doing stuff, maybe an office manager, but no one really dedicated to that marketing piece.
But there's so many tools out there now that make it so that it's not like you have to have a giant team doing these types of things anymore. There's so many tools that make you streamlined, and not the least of which is AI engines, right, or AI platforms that are out there. Are you baking AI strategies into what you do now? Are you still kind of learning that? Where are you at in believing in the AI movement?
So we use AI a lot to help generate and brainstorm content, and that's a big thing for us. We use it a ton to take content from our podcasts and turn it into other types of content, blog articles, turn it into reels, shorts, turn it into carousels for LinkedIn, all that type of stuff. And now we're starting to play a little bit with it as a sales agent, an AI-driven sales agent that carries conversations with people. So, yeah, so we're testing that out a little bit. The price point is it seems a little pricey per lead for what we wanted to use it to promote. But it's a cool application.
Are you like a Chat GPT guy, or is there a different one that you're using?
Yeah, we both use Chat GPT. And that's what we're kind of playing with right now. We were in early enough that we got in and have the account and can do all the stuff and get the updated when they come out. So and it works, and it's nice.
Yeah, I mean, if you're listening to this podcast and you have yet to go pull up a browser and Google Chat GPT and start playing with it for free, right? You can just log in using a Gmail account or whatever and play with it for free. If you're not doing that, that is your homework assignment, is to go do it. And if you think this is some nerdy tech guy bull, like, I'm telling you, this is one of those things that in 5 years, everybody on the planet is going to be talking about this and how it changes things. And this isn't like some hype. I wasn't bought into, the metaverse and everything. Like, I'm pretty skeptical when these movements come about, but I'm telling you, this one, the internet in the 90s, social media, cell phones, smartphones, I would put this in the same sort of trajectory of, like, this is going to be the next big thing that, we're going to be able to draw a line before and after this sort of happened. It makes everything more streamlined. It changes so many things. So you can go on these engines and talk about anything and talk to it like in a conversation, and it is really the first real threat to the Google search engine that we've seen in 20 plus years, right? It's the first real threat, because if I was going to research something, let's say I needed to research a disease, right? Because somebody I know has a disease and how we're going to treat this. I might spend 2 months searching Google, looking for the doctors that treat this disease, looking for, where research papers and who's the experts in this. Or I could just simply go to an AI search engine and say, when it comes to this disease, what are the 5 doctors in the United States that have treated this more than anybody else? What are the 5 the 5 most cited researchers in all academic research? And in a second, you've got that answer, right? And yes, do you need to go back and check out and figure out whether it's true or whether there's validity to what? Yeah, you should. But the efficiency, I think that's what today I see artificial intelligence creating efficiency in business processes that you could never have dreamed of before.
Yeah, and that's really how we're using it with the content creation. I am a super slow writer because I am an introvert and I want perfection, and I rewrite and keep tweaking, and all of a sudden it's been 8 hours and I'm just now getting my blog published. So the use of AI for me is really nice because it can give me, I can tell it, hey, give me 10 bullet points about this topic. And then I can refine those bullet points more and then tell it to write stuff using 3 of those and refine it more. And then I can take it and use that as a guide to write my own content. Never, ever, ever, for all the listeners, never use the content right out of AI. Because it's probably copyrighted. Because it's literally just pulling from a snapshot of the internet.
You know, so in another episode, I had a expert in writing books on the show, and we talked about how artificial intelligence is threatening the concept of the ghostwriter. Because you know, for those who don't know what that is, I mean, it's pretty typical for people to hire a ghostwriter, somebody who will write a book for you based on the content and all the stories that you give them, and they sort of write you a first draft or a rough draft or whatever, and then you edit it and you kind of they do a lot of the heavy lifting. Artificial intelligence is absolutely capable of doing that now, right? I mean, you could just sit and talk to ChatGPT and tell it your life story and then say, all right, kick me out chapter 1, kick me out chapter 2, and it will give you something that's pretty passable, and then you go in and you start editing it and you make it your own. But again, it's about efficiency and speed. And I think, you know, there's been, now that everybody has a calculator in their pocket, it's long ago that the idea that arithmetic, math, you know, adding and multiplication and things, like you needed to memorize those things. It's not the kind of life skill that you need anymore. You spend a lot of effort learning that because you can pull out something and calculate it yourself. You still need to understand the concepts, but you don't need to know the math. I think that's what AI is going to do to writing. I don't think you're going to have people that really have to dive to the bottom of like AP style and all these different ways to create. You need to understand the concepts and you need to be able to apply them, but you can have something draft you up something so quickly today, I was going to say in the future, but today, that I think you're going to start to see writers, it's really going to change the style and the content creation industry.
Have you, were you a Star Trek fan at all?
I was not, no.
Well,
I hated that crap, to be honest.
Well,
and it's not cool to say anymore, but like, remember when that wasn't cool? It wasn't cool to watch that stuff back in the day. Like, I didn't. I was watching baseball.
So on one of the Star Trek, the Voyager series, they have a sentient hologram character who writes a book and send it to a publisher. And the publisher went and published it without getting all the final edits from the doctor. And then so there's this big fight about it. You know, was the hologram sentient, and did he have artistic rights? But the whole idea that AI can write a book for you, you know, when that came out in the 90s, that was, you know, really far fetched. That there's this, you know, computer thing that's going to write a book and interact with humans and act just like we do. But now it's really, you know, we're there. We're on the precipice of that with the ability for an AI. You tell an AI to write a children's book and give it a topic and a general timeline of what you want to happen, and it'll kick out a children's book for you.
Yeah,
and it's
wild, right? I mean, and so I think we're probably in like a 5-year window, in my opinion, where the average walking around person on Earth is behind the curve on this. And so if you're listening to this podcast and you're looking for an edge, this is your edge, right? Artificial intelligence is your edge right now. If you can teach yourself what these things can do, brainstorm on ways that this tool can make you more efficient, can make you smarter, can make you faster, can help you brainstorm new things, this is your edge, right? There's this whole discussion, too, about how it's changing music, right? And there's AI music engines where it used to be if you're like a hip hop artist or something, you'd go connect with some great DJ and they would like pull you out 15 different beats that they've been working on, and you go, ooh, I like that one. Let's work on that. And then you make a song out of it. Where now you can have AI create 100 beats for you, and you stumble on the one that's kind of cool, and then you start to work on it. And is that cheating? Is that, I don't know. I mean, those are answers that we sort of need to figure out collectively as a community. But there's no question that those tools are changing everything.
Well, the same is true with graphic design. There's all kinds of plugins for ChatGPT, and there's Wall-E, and all kinds of different tools where you can actually tell it, I want an image of this, and it'll create 50 different examples of that image, and you can say, oh, I like that one, change this, and now you can start tweaking it, and you don't have to know how to do digital imagery anymore. So it's, it is a huge, it is a huge time saver, and everyone's like, oh, it's going to take jobs away from humans. Like, no, it's the people who are doing that already and actually know how to construct a good image are just going to be able to use AI way better than me. I can do some cool things with imagery, but an actual graphic designer who knows all the right words to use to a computer about design and style and colors and shading and all that stuff is going to way outperform me. Same with the copywriter who's saying the right things to it to get good copy.
Yeah, the buzzword 10 years ago was an AI, it was automation, right? And how you could automate things. And I was at a Gartner symposium years ago, and there was this whole discussion about if you zoom way out and look at an economy, these types of technological advances don't eliminate jobs, it just moves them, right? So you don't have as many copywriters in the future, but you have more people designing and manipulating and using AI things. It just moves the jobs from one part of the economy to the next. And, the concern there is you just want to make sure that most people the people that are lost in that shuffle can retool themselves to another spot in the economy where they can be productive. Yep. Not to go on an economic stump speech here, but that's really what's going on in the economy.
Yeah, and that's what happens throughout any civilization's history. You go from, an agrarian culture where everyone has to farm because that's the only way you create enough food to support all the members of your society, to you become industrialized where people start moving into the cities because now you're working manufacturing and you've automated the farming piece, and then you shift from blue collar into those skilled, more skilled electronic type professions, and it's just this ongoing profession of how your economy is based. But it is really important to understand. It's like, all right, so we have all these people that have been doing these jobs that aren't a key part of our economy anymore. How do we bring them along? And what's the process to get them to the new economy that is digital based, so that they can use these tools and generate revenue? And right now we're in a big transition to a gig economy, and everyone's utilizing their skills on their own, and that's a big change for a lot of people.
Gig economy's been around for a little bit, but you're right. I mean, it was, think about the freak out that everyone had 10, 15 years ago when like the concept of being an Uber driver and a DoorDash driver and, a freelance graphic artist or whatever, right? I mean, there's so many things that you can do on your own now. And I think that's a net good thing. I think if you're savvy enough to understand those things and to be able to sort of run your life that way, then good. I mean, I think that's a great thing. I don't think that the world is served well that in 50 years we're all still trying to play the gold watch game that our parents' generations played, right? Where you go work a job for 40 years, you hope that they take care of you. Oftentimes they don't, right? And then you're just sort of stuck. I think there's something liberating about having all these job opportunities and career paths that didn't exist before, but that you really are your own boss and you're in control of.
Yeah, I like that concept. That's why I have time on target, because I'm definitely in that gig world, working with multiple clients at once, doing a bunch of different things. But I chose that lifestyle because it allows me a lot of freedom for how I run my business and what I get to do with my life. But there's a lot of people that it doesn't work as well for, and that's okay. And you just have to figure out what works best for you and your family. And then, not wanting to go down the political route, but then, government, stay out of it. Let us run our businesses. Let us figure out what works for us. Let us figure out what works best for us, and then, we'll take care of business, and you can get your taxes.
That's right, and they will find ways to tax everything. That was one of the things that I've always believed about cryptocurrency, is that it's never going to go away once they figure out how to tax it. That's sort of like the truest thing that I can ever think of. Flipping the chicken wings here, by the way. Checking on our lemon pepper goodness. I think we're almost done. Chicken wings don't take a long time, especially when you start from fresh and not frozen. What do you think?
So, are you were those pre-seasoned, or are you going to be seasoning them after?
No. We went with a custom Morgan family lemon pepper blend, which consisted of store-bought lemon pepper and some other couple little things that I threw on there. But I love lemon pepper wings too, but you got to get them crunchy. So I'm cooking these a lot more than I would cook a chicken breast, right? Because I want the chicken to be really done and crispy on the outside. And there's a lot of different ways you can do that. You can oil the outside of them and different things. I just kind of went with the straight method here, but crispy chicken wings. This is one of the few things. I cook all sorts of weird stuff on this podcast. It's one of the few things that when I'm walking down here and somebody in my family, like my wife, will ask, "What are you making on the podcast today?" And I say wings. They're like trying to make sure they're hanging around so
That's
that they
funny.
can get some wings. Usually they're like, I'll skip the pork roast.
So, are you a spicy wings person or not?
I do like spicy wings. Nobody else in my family does. So I don't like. I don't like pain. Like, you get some people that it's just super pain.
I agree with you though. I like hot and spicy, but I want there to be good flavor. Back to the Triple D. They visited a place in Minnesota called Smalley's Pirate Barbecue in Stillwater, and they did a wing called the 666 wings. Oh, and they're hot. They were easily the hottest wings I've ever had, but they tasted good. They were full of flavor, and they had the peppers balanced right, so that you got that full pepper flavor, but then you got the different layers of heat off of it too, and they were just amazing. And their warm up for most places bring out chips to snack on while you're waiting for your food. They brought out grilled jalapenos.
Ooh.
With some salt and a little lime over the top, and they just brought you this big thing, and you just ate grilled jalapenos as your appetizer. I'm like, all right, well, this will get me all warmed up.
Grilled stuffed jalapenos with like cheese and bacon wrapped. It's one of my favorite things to put on a grill. It's such a great appetizer. It's super easy to do. People love it. They're not that hot, especially if you sort of cook them right. They're a little bit of heat, but tons of flavor. That's what you were talking about before. Hey, I want to ask you about. I wanted to make sure we get to the Badass Business Summit, right? So that's something that you and the Donnie gang, Donnie Bovine, are putting on. So show them your shirt. There you go. If you're watching on Facebook or on YouTube or on Spotify, you can see we got the shirt. The Badass Business Summit is coming up this fall. Where and when is that going to be?
The Badass Business Summit is coming up September 20th through the 23rd in Fort Worth, Texas.
Yes.
And we can't wait.
And last year you guys had a packed house, and I'm super honored and excited. I get to actually be a speaker this year. So I'm going to come down and connect with everybody, make some new connections, and talk a little bit about my story and get people fired up.
Yeah, I've been dropping your name everywhere the last couple weeks. They're like, and we have some really badass speakers coming in, and I'll drop your name, and we got Michael Haynes coming in from Australia. First U.S. stage.
Wow.
He's never been on a U.S. stage before. We're his first, so he's flying in from Australia, and he is pumped about that. Yeah, so we have some really killer presenters this year. So we're excited. And the nice thing about the summit is it's not like your normal business conference. It's not that conference where you go and you sit through a bunch of different sessions, and you listen to a bunch of speakers, and you take copious notes, and then you get back to your business that following Monday, and you're like, well, now what do I do with all this? And you have all this stuff that you want to do, but you don't know where to start. It's all like half thought out ideas. The summit is actually designed to give you time to work on it. And instead of lectures, all our speakers are workshop based, so it's all working on specific things. And we build into the schedule each day a mastermind session where you're going to work with your co-attendees on things that are going on in your business. So you're going to be spending time not only absorbing a ton of information and techniques and tactics, but you're also going to actually get to actively process it and start thinking about how you apply it and walk out of the summit with plans in place that you can start executing.
Man, that's awesome. It's such a, and, I mean, the concept is phenomenal, but it's just also the vibe. I mean, you don't find many business conferences that, well, frankly, have the word ass in the title, right? I mean, you don't, but you just, there's something that's so, I don't know, it's a home game for me, the way I feel like it, because there's something really liberating about not trying to seem like a Harvard Business School scholar. No offense to my friends at HBS, but like there's really some value in just kind of being like, hey, there's more to entrepreneurship than just tech entrepreneurship, right? There's all sorts of different types of businesses, and you need to really come out and learn and work hard and be a badass. And I just think that's such a cool concept to build a conference around.
Yeah, we wanted to do something different. Just like when we launched Success Champions, the networking side, the peer-to-peer groups, we wanted to fix everything that was broken about business networking. And we're continuing to innovate and break all the rules with that. But we wanted to do the same thing for the Badass Business Summit. We didn't want your boring ass summit where you sat in sessions all day, then you went out, got drunk off your ass at night, and then came back and did it again, and then came home and didn't know why you were even really there. We want people leaving there saying, wow, that was the best conference I've ever been to, and I actually got stuff out of it. And then so, last year, we did, for the first time, we offered the tickets at the summit for this year, and we had, we sold half of our VIP tickets that day, and we sold a bunch of our standard tickets as well, and which is awesome. So that in itself is a testament to how good the content is and how much it impacts the attendees and their businesses.
That's so good. So if somebody wants to learn more about the Badass Business Summit, maybe attend, where could they find it?
Yeah, easiest way is just to go to badassbusinesssummit.com, and you can see all of our speakers. I just updated the site today with a couple new ones we added in. You'll be able to see the current schedule on there. You'll be able to see information about the hotel we're at, things you can do in Fort Worth. Fort Worth has some amazing barbecue. So me and Donnie are totally going to be taking you out to check out barbecue one night.
Can't wait.
So.
We may broadcast live, so tune into social media. I may have to live broadcast some. Listen, I'm in Alabama. No offense to all my brothers here that make some of the best barbecue around, but there's no barbecue like Texas barbecue.
Yeah, we found last time I was in Texas with Donnie, we found a place called Dane's. It was just killer, and he was out of a food truck. And since then, he's now moved into an actual restaurant, and he's got a full kitchen, and he's doing it right. So we have some good places we can take you.
I can't wait. I can't wait for the summit too. It's going to be a lot of fun. Kevin, let's give one last check to the chicken here. We should be done. We're pretty much done before. Oh yeah, babe, we're done. Let's get some of these bad boys off. These, you hope to season wings well enough where you don't even need ranch. Not that you wouldn't do ranch, but you don't need ranch, right? That's the best way. So, Kevin, thank you so much for being here, man. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. We'll have you guys on again. And before we get to the summit, we should have you and Donnie on to get people fired up and learn more about the movement that you guys are creating, which I love, and I'm honored to be a part of.
Yeah, we're so excited to have you down there, and we've been really singing your praises, and there's a lot of people excited to meet you and hear your stories. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
I can't wait, man. Kevin, thank you so much for being here, man. And guys, if you enjoy more than just lemon pepper wings, if you enjoy business talk and badassery like Kevin and like this type of thing, make sure that you find us on social media. You can find us on TikTok. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, everywhere you find social media. Even Threads, right, which is the new thing that just came out from Facebook.
Today.
We're getting on the thread today, right, when we're recording this. So find us there. Also, if you found something valuable in this podcast, please tell a friend, send them the episode, and give us a 5-star rating and a like, and we'll see you next time on the Slow Smoke Business Show. Also, you guys heard us talking about Donnie Bovine, good friend of ours. He's a part of the Badass Business Summit and the Growth Mode podcast. If you'd like to check that episode out of the Slow Smoke Business Show, look for Season 2, Episode 7, where you can catch Kevin and my friend Donnie talking to us. And I was also on an episode of the Growth Mode podcast. So go check that podcast out and look for Jarrod Morgan, and you'll hear our conversation there.